YouTube, welcome to Groove Builders, your place to build really cool things with your friend, Disorderly Cone. I can't think of a better place to kick off this channel than building the infamous Piececool Flame Dragon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the package. On the front, we have the Piececool logo, an awesome depiction of what the Flame Dragon is going to look like when it's completed, the indication that it's 3 massive silver sheets, also its star difficulty. This one here says it's a 6 out of 7 rating. On the back, again, we have that Piececool logo. We have an indicator saying this is number 19 out of all the models, and we have a depiction of what the sheets will look like and what the model will look like at the very end. At the bottom, we also have a QWERTY code that you can scan with your phone to take a look at the model in 360 while you're building, just in case you get confused. Alright, Groove Builders, there's a lot of hype surrounding this dragon. Let's go ahead and get building.
Alrighty, Groove Builders, welcome to the workbench. We have our tools, we have our metal. Let's get this Flame Dragon built. Now, the first thing we're going to be doing is constructing the neck. The neck is constructed by making a cylinder that has a cap on either end, one male and one female. You want to attach a spike to the center and then fold those caps on either end. Then you want to attach it to the second piece. This is pretty much repeated for the entire dragon build. Now, Groove Builders, I'm very excited to have you guys here with me in the very beginning. When I started filming Groove Builders, I had something completely different in mind than when I started editing. I realized I could have a lot more fun, so there's a lot of changes coming, and I hope you guys enjoy these first couple of videos, but keep in mind that things will get a lot better as time goes on. Now that we're finished with the neck, we're going to work on the head. Construction on the head begins by forming spikes. Each spike consists of 3 different tabs that need to be formed into triangles. The better the triangle, the better the spike. Now guys, I apologize for all the jumpiness of this video. There was a lot of missing footage when I was filming the Flame Dragon. The head is connected by these 4 tabs at the top. Make sure that when you're twisting the tabs, you're also pulling as well. This will aid in a secure fit, and at the very end will make sure your dragon is nice and tightly together. And there we go. Now we're going to be working on the main body portion. And this is pretty much constructed just like the rest of the dragon, where you're going to be making a cylinder. Now these tiny little cylinders that I'm placing onto the main body are going to be holding the arms of the dragon later on. I really recommend having something to bend the metal around to make sure that this bend is very cylindrical in shape. If you have something around the house that is kind of like that, I recommend using it. Now that we've constructed both main pieces of the big body, we're going to go ahead and attach them together to the neck. Constructing and connecting the main body is very similar to how we constructed the neck, except the pieces aren't all connected. You're going to have to connect these plates on first before connecting other parts of the body. Now, Groovers, we're on to the wings. The first thing we're going to do is bend all of the outside metal down. That is going to help us build the border, if you will, for the wings. The second thing we're going to do is bend all of the tabs that we can find up. And the reason why we're going to do that is because when we put the wing together, the upper half and the lower half are going to go together seamlessly by having those tabs already pre-bent. And now we're going on to the tail portion. Now this tail portion is a little bit different than the rest of the model. What you're actually going to have to do is start by building the little bits of detail that are almost like belts that go around the backhand half. All you have to do is line up the tabs 2 by 2 and then simply push them into their slots. When you go around the back, make sure you're twisting them as hard as you can because you don't want them moving around too much near the end. Now, the upper portion of the tail is constructed very similar to how the neck was constructed. It's just those cylinders with the caps and the spikes. So just keep forming those all up, and once you've got them all together and formed, I combine them together one by one. Some of them do require the plate, but that's just to connect it to the main body a little bit later. Once we've attached all of these big pieces together, we're going to attach the back portion of that tail. That's that little piece that took a little bit more time with the detailing on it. And once that's connected, we should have a full tail. Excellent. Now let's go ahead and attach that to our Flame Dragon. Dragon's really coming along now. Now we just need some legs. Starting with the foot, what I suggest doing is putting the spikes onto the border piece first, then using the top plate as a guide, bend the border around to shape the foot. This will make your life a lot easier. Now that we've finished up with the feet, we're going to move on to the tubular portions of the upper and lower arms. Now, I really recommend using a crayon if you guys can find one around the house. These are really good for forming the tubes. The tubes are then connected by a little plate, similar to what we did with the construction of the body and tail. Now, the upper half of the dragon arm is formed very similar to the lower half, except at the top you're going to have to make a dome. I recommend using your pinky finger to use as a guide to help bend that piece. Then use some detail tweezers afterwards to help fill in any little gaps that you might form. Just going to connect this last foot here. Again, make sure you're making a pull and twist. Now these plates are going to go onto the dragon first. Make sure you put the right leg onto the right piece. Okay, now we got 2 legs on the dragon. Here comes our next arm. Again, just make sure you're really getting those tabs as tight as you possibly can to avoid loose pieces. And our last leg.
Alright, Groove Builders, we did it! We built ourselves the infamous Piececool Flame Dragon. This thing was a ton of fun to build, and the amount of detail work that they put into the laser etching definitely stands out amongst my other metal models. Let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit. The first thing I want to talk about is the wings. The wings look fantastic with the amount of detailing that they have on each side. However, they're only attached by the lower half of the wing by 3 tabs. Make sure that when you're placing them onto the main body that they are tight, and that when you're placing them and forming them, that they are the way you want them the first time. By constantly changing them or moving them or by manipulating them, they will weaken the metal and ultimately cause it to break. Just be very careful and they're going to look fantastic. The second thing I want to talk about is the head. Now the head on the Flame Dragon is pretty easy to put together. However, if you ask me, it's kind of the weakest part of the entire model. Iconics, who's an affiliate of Piececool, has re-released this model to the North American audience with a completely different shaped head. I like that one a lot better, but this one definitely has a place. The last thing I want to talk about is the legs. The legs themselves are actually pretty easy to put together. The only problem becomes once you place them onto the dragon, they can't be repositioned in any other way. Now some Redditors out there have decided to use rare earth magnets in the joints, and this allows them to be able to move the legs up and down and replace them wherever they want. That's a great idea, and I hope to do an update video with that same modification on this Flame Dragon. Alright, Groove Builders, that brings us to the end. I had a great time building the Flame Dragon with you, and if you had a good time, don't forget to press that like button at the bottom of the screen. For more videos like this, hit subscribe as well. I got all kinds of really neat things coming down the pipe. Until next time, Groove Builders, keep building!